teachers, please be seated for the continuation of our teachers training. All teachers who are still outside the aula, please come in. Calling all the teachers who are still outside the aula. Please let us all be seated as we commence the second part of our teachers training. Everyone, please be seated. Thank you. All right, let's begin the second session of our teachers training. Let me introduce you, our second speaker. Dr. Bravo is an educator and supporter of various Catholic churches charities. As an academic, he has been a teacher and dean of student affairs of La Consolacion College, Manila, and is currently the director of the Graduate Studies Office and chairperson of the Tenure Track Committee of Far Eastern University. He is actively serving as the National Secretary of the Philippine Association of Graduate Education until 2026. Please welcome Dr. Arnel Bravo.
Everyone is here already. I would like to begin my presentation by saying mabuhay. This is a Filipino way of greeting someone and showing the person the Filipino warmth and welcoming. This literally means long live or hello. So mabuhay, everyone. Thank you. I could hear the voice of Julie since this morning. Where's Julie? Where's Julie? Julie, right? Yes, Julie. Where's Julie? Was it Julie? Was it Julie? But anyways. Okay, the topic assigned to me this morning is working ethics, creating the correct attitude. For the past 2 years, this is already my third year in coming to Batam. For the past 2 years, my message to your academic community is empowerment. Today, I am reiterating that message. Let us continue empowering everyone to create and sustain learning and teaching environments that foster appropriate ethical working behaviors. So my dear colleagues, try to imagine when your house is being built by carpenters, masons, and engineers. They build step by step, the foundation first, then the walls, and so on and so forth. Now, as Dr. D would put it, using a metaphor, we build or construct the learning environment that we teach in, and we create positive change brick by brick, one brick at a time. So the succeeding presentation that I will be sharing with you is mainly based on Dr. Daly's presentation in one of his talks. Continue building the school on the highest standards of integrity, trust, and a passion to innovate and to be relevant to the changing times. Help one another unleash your creativity, imagination, and potential to create meaningful, positive, and sustainable change in your school. Embrace change. But how do we embrace change? That's the main question. Just as we try to build our learning environment brick by brick, let us continue introducing innovations and ethical behaviors in our school and change it one story at a time. A story is a very powerful tool in human history. In the Christian perspective, for us Christians, the creation of the world and humanity is based on a story. Your successes in life is inspired by a story of how your parents have brought you up, of how your teachers have molded you to become who you are now. So I am asking you right now, think of a story of your life when you decided and acted righteously and morally that you are proud to tell to your friends, to your students. Every day we have a story to tell, to share with our peers and colleagues, with our students. Tell good and beautiful stories on a daily basis and how these affect and influence people to change for the better through their work ethic. Your story deserves to be told because it connects us as a community of educators with a sense of purpose and with a sense of mission. Together, let us daily weave our individual stories to craft a stronger future for our students. Change happens in authentic relationship. As you tell your stories to one another, you open yourself to establishing an authentic relationship with that person. Do you agree? Because when you tell your life story, you tell the truth of yourself to the other person. You do not tell lies to the other person. So when you tell your story, you open up yourself in authentic relationship, in real relationship, and opportunities for growth are presented. And one opportunity for growth is our working environment. My point, my dear colleagues, is this. when you tell your hardships about teaching, about dealing with your students, with parents, you tell true stories. You do not tell lies. In that sense, you are creating an authentic relationship with the other person. Build the world you want to live in. Build the school you want to teach in. One brick at a time, one story at a time. How? Through your work ethic. Clear? Clear? So the kind of stories that we tell to each other are actually foundations of the kind of school that we want build and to work in. Do you want to work in a school where there are inauthentic relationships? When you deal with people who you cannot trust? Definitely not. We want to work in a school where authentic relationship flourishes. Are you following? Are you following? Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Carol Dweck, she's an author, shares in her book, Mindset, How We Can Learn to Fulfill Our Potential, that there is a particular part in our brain that affects the way we live and approach our goals. This is important to recall, my dear colleagues, because this has implications on how we perceive and approach the daily grinds of our work, on how we work with our colleagues. Our mindset, the way we think, how we see ourselves, shapes how we respond to people and to situations. So you cannot imbibe certain degrees of work ethic if you do not change your mindsets. She says, and I quote, "Changing people's beliefs, even the simplest beliefs, can have profound effects." That is why, my dear colleagues, as you relate with one another, you are trying to affect and influence the mindset of each other. Okay, this book of Carol Dweck discusses the difference between fixed mindset versus growth mindset. Our mindset, the way we think, determines how we deal with the issues and how we want to improve ourselves. We can achieve our goals if we change our mindsets. We can change our relationships with each other by changing our mindsets. Okay? So what I am saying right now is we can improve on our individual, personal, and collective work ethic if we change our mindsets. Clear? Clear? If you want to remain lazy, stick to that kind of mindset. But if you want to progress and to improve as a teacher, change the way you think about work, about people. And this is sad, but I guess I have to say this. Many relationships are broken because people have fixed mindset. Look at the person seated beside you. How do you look at the person? What do you think about that person? And that is the level of relationship that you have with that person. Okay? There are two extremes, the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. Let us go first to the fixed mindset. I hope Arnold will not get angry with me and Pac Mason. Those people whose view is being obstructed by the post, please transfer. Feel free to transfer. Okay? If you want to, yeah, please, Julie, you want to transfer? Please transfer. Okay, it's okay, it's okay. Yeah, but I think I have asked the permission of Arnold to allow you to change seats if you want for this time only. Okay, there are two types of mindsets. Okay, I hope you're following me. The fixed mindset is the belief that your qualities cannot be changed. Okay. Since you believe these qualities are permanent part of who you are, you feel the need to constantly prove yourself. Okay, an example of a person having a fixed mindset is this. I look at myself as what? Having a quality of not a good speaker. So I will not do my best to improve on myself because that kind of thinking is already fixed. You understand? You believe that you will not change that quality anymore. If you think you are a person who is not intelligent, who is not good in playing the piano, who is not good in singing, then you have a fixed mindset. If you are the type of person that she will not become my friend, you are having a fixed mindset. So until you retire from this school, this person will never become your friend because you have already that thinking that she is not good to me. Clear? Clear? Okay. Now, that's in a capsule, no? For people with a fixed mindset, they seek approval. That is why, my dear colleagues, if you cannot give an affirmation to this person, no authentic relationship, no working relationship will ever happen between the two of you. So, while you are listening to what I am sharing with you, think of the kind of mindset that you have. Am I the type of person who has fixed mindset? Clear? Okay, furthermore, to deepen our reflection, if you have a fixed mindset, no good will you be able to see from the other person. Sad, but we have people around us who are like those. Okay, next point. The growth mindset is the belief that your qualities can be changed and nurtured through effort and learning. My dear colleagues, the key words here are effort and learning. You can improve on yourself through your effort and learning. You don't just sit there and expect a miracle. Oh Allah, please change me to become the best singer in this aula. No. It will never happen if you will not exert effort to get the microphone and start singing. So it is only through effort and learning that we will have a growth mindset. So for example, what do I mean by this, no? Does it mean that all my entire life I will have my fixed mindset? No, no, no. What is good about the brain is it can be trained. It can be trained. So, do not give up your fixed mindset. We need that also depending on circumstances. But my point here is, please do extra effort to at least acquire a growth mindset. If we want to achieve our goals and aspirations in life, then acquire a growth mindset. Okay? I have to be very honest. I feel insecure. I feel nervous whenever I get hold of a microphone. If I remain having a fixed mindset, you will never see me standing in front of you. But I want to overcome that insecurity. I want to overcome that, that quality of being shy. So I started. Exert effort. Exert effort. So for those among you who are not good in speaking English, please get rid of that fixed mindset. Practice, practice. If people will tell you you're a bad speaker of English, what will you tell the other person? I'm here to learn. Or, if you want to be sarcastic, you may say, welcome to the club. You include that person to the club of not being good speakers. Okay? So, the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. I will not dwell so much on this because for me, this is self-explanatory. Okay. One another example of between having fixed mindset and growth mindset is that when people give me a feedback, if I have a fixed mindset, I will take that as criticism. If people will give me a feedback, if I have a fixed mindset, I will interpret that as criticism. So, I will look at this person giving me a feedback as someone who is an antagonist to me. She will not be my friend because she's always giving me feedback. But if I have a growth mindset, I will interpret that feedback as what? As an opportunity to learn, relearn, and make progress in what I am doing. Okay? I hope that as you continue being teachers in this school, you will gradually also improve on acquiring this growth mindset. Otherwise, your work relationships will also be affected. Okay. Only those who have growth mindsets can learn, relearn, improve, and progress in their work habits, in their work relationships. Applying this in the context of our work ethic, let us try to recall, okay, Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. How many of you have read this book? Okay, one. Okay. Anyways, this is easy reading, no? Easy reading. I have decided to share this book now with you this morning because I believe the 7 habits are important, okay, in our desire to acquire a certain degree of character upon which work ethics, happiness, and success are based. First, be proactive. Second, begin with an end in mind. Third, put first things first. Fourth, think win-win. Fifth, seek first to understand than to be understood. Sixth, synergize. And seven, sharpen the saw. Okay, let's go to each principle. The first principle is be proactive. Be proactive. You know, my dear colleagues, our difference, why human persons are different with animals, it's because we know how to decide. If you are hungry, you have options whether to take that bread, whether to eat that durian tart or what. You can decide for yourself. Animals, they cannot. That is why, my dear colleagues, when people would ask you, what do you want to eat? And then you would simply answer, it's up to you. Whatever you want to eat, I will eat also. Wow! You are a human person. You decide what you want for yourself. You get the point? You get the point? So, part of our being a human person is we are proactive. We can plan what we want to do in the future. Some people, they do not decide by being proactive. They are what? Reactive. For sure, we know a number of our friends who are always reacting. The food is not good, the aula is very hot, everything, you just react to the circumstances. But you do not propose, you do not suggest how to solve the problem. Covey is saying the first principle that we can apply in our acquiring a work ethic is we should know how to plan and solve, look for solutions to our problems. Another example will be if Arnold, for example, will ask you, submit a report. Or if Vivid, City, Sri, Shinta will ask you, submit a report, monthly report. And then when the report is given back to you with all those red marks, red sentences, and you start saying, this is not my fault, it's the fault of picture like this, like that, you are reacting. You are not proactive. A person who is proactive looks for solutions for the sloppy report that she submitted. She does not blame the external circumstances because she submitted a bad report. Are you following? I hope you are not yet hungry, huh? Don't worry, don't worry. Delicious food will be served during lunchtime. But please focus on the first principle. Okay, think about the possibilities and seek solutions to address the problems by focusing on things that you can control. That is what we mean by the first principle, be proactive. Sadly, my dear colleagues, we focus our energies, our time, our talent, our skills on things we cannot control. And every time we become stressed, we overthink, our cancer cells are dancing, are very happy. That is why people who have cancer are stressed people. Who among you here are overthinkers? Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. So that's the first principle. The second habit, according to Stephen Covey, is begin with the end in mind. This is what we call visual anticipation. You anticipate visually what will happen. Okay? Begin with an end in mind. Meaning to say, you do something with a purpose. With a purpose. Diba? Diba, sorry. Sorry. Isn't it that that if you are planning to have a vacation, you are already what? Thinking, okay, I will book my ticket on this day, I will reserve money for this will be my itinerary, etc., etc. You visually anticipate things. If you do not do that, definitely your plan, you will not be able to enjoy your plan. So that is what we mean by the second habit. Define clear measures of success and a plan to achieve them through visual anticipation. The same can be said if you want to build or renovate your house, you think of a plan. Of a plan. When you want to marry this person, you also visually anticipate. Okay, I will propose to her over dinner, we will have the marriage, etc., etc. Visual anticipation. You do not simply go to a girl you like and then kneel in front of her, will you marry me? No, you do not do that. You do not do that. You plan. You plan. Okay? Next. The third habit is put first things first. Prioritize and achieve your most important goals instead of constantly reacting to urgencies. Think about it. Prioritize your goals. Okay? Has any one of you here imagined to become the principal 5 years from now? Of course, you should. You should. Otherwise, do you want to die as a teacher? Of course. You want, Julie? You're Julie, right? Yeah, okay. You want what?
Well, actually, I do not picture myself being a principal. I'm imagining myself being rich.
Being rich. Okay, thank you for that honesty. No problem. No problem. No problem. So, if that is the case that you want to become rich, then prioritize your goals. Okay. Save money. Save money. Do not simply react to urgencies. If the fad right now is having in your bag Labubu dolls, my goodness, do you think you will become rich spending Labubu dolls? No. Prioritize your goals. If you don't need many pairs of shoes, don't buy shoes. Prioritize. Put first things first. Clear? Okay. We will try to think about how we are going to apply these habits later on in the context of our work ethics. Okay, I would like everyone to recall the Eisenhower matrix. Some people would call this also as urgency matrix, time management matrix, but commonly this is called Eisenhower matrix. The first quadrant is urgent, is important, and urgent. Okay. The deadlines, the tasks, okay. The family emergencies, our loans, okay. These are tasks with clear deadlines and significant consequences if not completed in a timely fashion. So our reaction would be, our response would be, do, okay, accomplish them, important and urgent. The second quadrant is important but not urgent. Things like building relationships, relaxation, time with the family, investing in a new hobby. The second quadrant, these are the tasks with no deadline, but will bring you closer to your long-term goals. Our response should be schedule those tasks. The third quadrant, urgent but not important. These are unexpected texts or phone calls, unannounced family requests. These are tasks that need to be done, but don't need your expertise to be completed. So, what will be your response? Delegate these tasks to other persons. Okay. The fourth quadrant, not important, not urgent. This is just a waste of time. What are the examples of time wasters? While listening to me, you are texting at the same time. You are checking your Facebook. They are waste of time. These are tasks that distract you from your preferred course and don't add value to what you are doing. Your response should be delete these tasks. According to Matt Gray, distractions are the pandemic of the 21st century. Okay. So, my question to you, dear colleagues, is which quadrant in the Eisenhower matrix is the most important quadrant? Please guess. Oh, 1 and 3. Other guess? Which quadrant is the most important? Four. Okay, according to Stephen Covey, the most important quadrant is quadrant number 2. And he calls this quality quadrant. Okay. So, in quadrant number 2, what are the important but not urgent things you are neglecting? Personally and professionally. Because remember, the tasks in quadrant 2 are those that will facilitate us achieve our long-term goals. Okay? The fourth habit is think win-win. Okay, this is important because every time we relate, we interact with another person, we look at the person as a competitor. In the fourth habit, we are being exhorted to think win-win. If there is a win-win solution, then by all means, think of the win-win solution. Not all relationships are classified as what? Winner-loser relationship. Remember, if our department head will propose something, I hope we do not think of that proposal as a win-lose solution. If you can come up with win-win solution, then get that kind of habit. Okay. And how do you call this one? The key word here, we will be guided by effective communication. Not only effective communication, but respectful communication. We communicate respectfully with the other person. Okay. The fifth habit is seek first to understand than to be understood. Listen with the intent to really understand and not to respond only. Sad to say, a lot of us, when we listen to one another, we listen because we want to respond to the person. While the person is still talking, you are already thinking of what to say to that person. That is not listening. That is not listening. Okay? We listen because we want to understand. One indication that the other person did not listen to you is this. After your conversation with that person, you leave the person with a heavy heart. It seems she did not understand me. If you have that feeling, it means that the other person did not listen, truly listen to you. That person simply responded to you. Sad to say, but this is happening. That is why the implication of this fifth habit is what? We only go to the person who we feel will understand us. We do not go to the person who will listen and simply to respond to us. That is also the reason why we choose people who we want to share our problems. You do not advertise to the entire school your problems, but only to people who can truly understand you. Okay? The sixth habit is synergize. Habits 1 to 5 will lead us to habit number 6. Synergy is to work together in order to be more effective. That is why we have a saying, 2 heads are better than 1. You synergize. So, in our working environment, we also try our best to synergize. Okay? We have individual differences. Okay, that is fine, that is okay, because our differences will lead us to synergize and come up with the best solution. With the best solution. Okay? Remember, we have a saying, in diversity, there is unity. Unity. Okay, embrace diversity by treating others with openness and respect. The seventh habit is sharpen the saw. You know what is a saw? If you are a carpenter, how do you call that in Bahasa? If you are a carpenter, you're using the saw to cut the wood. Can you picture, okay, that's what we mean by sharpen the saw. Okay. Stephen Covey is telling us, engage in work-life balance activities that renew us as a person, as a worker. Remember, my dear colleagues, that famous saying, all work without play makes Jack a dull guy. Okay? So, invest in learning. How do we sharpen our saw? We invest in learning. We attend seminars. We attend trainings. That is one way of relearning ourselves. But of course, it's not purely work, work, work. You also find time to enjoy. Work-life balance. Are you following? Huh? If you refuse to study, if you refuse to learn, you are not sharpening your saw. That is why another implication of the seventh habit is this. If you are working with your colleagues and you always react to your colleagues, it is an indication that your learning is not yet sufficient to understand perspectives and things. Okay? So, if I'm going to have a quiz, what are the 7 habits? Be proactive, begin with the end in mind, put first things first, think win-win, seek first to understand, then to be understood, synergize, and sharpen the saw. Now, given all of these 7 habits or principles, the question now is, how are we going to face the challenges of the realities we try to cope as best as we go through life and our professional work? Okay, this will bring us to the next point. I hope you are still with me. I'm doing my best to simplify my presentation. Okay, remember the societal expectations of on teachers. Society has a lot of expectations from us. Do you agree? Yes or yes? Okay. The question is, how do we behave appropriately at work? Let us contextualize that. If you are attending a seminar or a talk, how do you behave appropriately? Is talking to your neighbor while listening to me appropriate? Yes or no? No. No. Then let us show that to people. If you are attending a seminar and you continue ignoring the speaker by not listening to the speaker, but browsing your cell phone, is that appropriate? No. Thank you. As teachers, we demand appropriate behavior from our students. So, I have been saying this for 2 years now. Let us walk our talk. Because I hope this will not happen. I hope not one student will stand and also tell you, teacher, why are you also doing what I am doing? So the challenge for us is this one. How do we appropriately behave in our working environment? Remember, the truth hurts. The truth hurts. Okay? How do you want your colleagues would best describe you as a co-worker? Because my dear colleagues, try to imagine, this is a reality. All of us will die. The only difference when you die and when I die is, obviously, I will die in the Philippines and you will die here in Batam. Another difference is, you might die in Mega Mall, Batam, or I might die in the marketplace. But all of us will die. And when we die, our relatives, our loved ones, will put something in our tomb, in the tombstone. Here lies Arnel Bravo, a virgin. Here lies Arnold Cupo, the best teacher. That's according to your relatives. But if I pass by your tombstone and see and read, Arnold, the best teacher, no. So, let us confront ourselves. How do we want people will describe us when we die? A compassionate worker? A committed teacher? A dedicated parent? Mother? Etc. Okay? So, at this point, let us try to ask ourselves, how do I appropriately behave in my workplace? So, what is work ethic? This is the simplest definition that I found about work ethic. Work ethic refers to a set of moral principles, values, and attitudes around how to act at work. In other words, these work ethic guide us in our working environment. And these principles are the principles, okay, that we imbibe from our teachers, from our colleagues, from our personal beliefs. Okay, very simple. Work ethic, moral principles, guidelines that guide us in our working environment. Now, in 2016, Turk and Vinjevic, said, teachers should not only possess professional competence. That is very important, my dear teachers. First and foremost, we are expected to what? To become competent in our profession. So, we are not only expected to show professional competence in our practice, but we should also exhibit moral values, making them as examples to their students. Sometimes we tell our students, you are very lazy. You do not submit on time. But what about us? Do we submit on time the tasks being asked of us? Remember, we must be examples to our students. Okay, let us be honest. No one will go to hell here. Do we set good examples in terms of our work ethic to our students? That's a good answer. We try. We try. But at least in your conscience, you know you are doing your best. The process of kindly read mentally. The process of introducing work ethics in education was based on the principle of a teacher being a moral agent to his or her students, to which the teacher applies ethics in the teaching learning process. Very demanding of us as teachers. That is why when I am being given by my institute subjects about ethical leadership, about moral ethics, everything that has something to do with ethics, sometimes I beg to disagree because I must model what I am teaching to my students. And that is very difficult to do. Okay? But if we want to be very serious about our identity as teachers, then we must take this into heart. Okay, next. Work ethic should be based on the work culture. Don't worry. Give me some few minutes. Remember, our work ethic is based on the work culture. So I will just go over the work culture in Indonesia. I hope you will agree with me. Indonesian work culture is a mix of traditional values, social norms, and modern business practices. Before we think of our work ethic, we have to consider very seriously the work culture of that particular place. No? So in Indonesia, the work culture is, okay, first, we have to acknowledge that respect for authority, okay? In the culture of Indonesia, it's very hierarchical. So it is very apparent that there is what? Respect for authority. So we have to respect authority, seniority in Indonesian culture. Next, titles and formalities. Job titles and formalities are very important. So using appropriate titles when addressing colleagues, especially superiors, is a sign of respect. Next, Indonesian culture is relationship-oriented. So it's very important to build relationships. Also, socializing, okay? Engaging in social activities is very important. And work-life balance. Okay? Family, community is important. That is why I know how important it is for all of you not to report to school on a Saturday, but sometimes we have to make sacrifices over another value. No? Yeah, that's part of being a teacher. So the communication style also in Indonesia is indirect. No? just like Filipinos, we are not very confrontational because we want to avoid conflict. In summary, these are the features of work culture in Indonesia: respect for hierarchy, relationship building, indirect communication, and a strong emphasis on work-life balance. Now, given all this, why did I show such slides? Because if we want to build a strong work ethic, we have to understand the work culture in this place. Okay, first, how to build strong work ethic. Develop self-discipline. Self-discipline. I will not expound on this. This is self-explanatory. Second, think like an owner. An essential part of building good work ethic is adopting a do it like you own attitude. If you recall in my previous sharing with you in the past 2 years, it is very important that each one of us must imbibe that so-called sense of ownership mentality. If you have that sense of ownership mentality, you will take care of things in this school as if you are the owner. Remember, how do we take care of things in our respective houses? Because we try to think that we own these things. So we are very careful about these things. So the same can be said here in our working environment. Think like an owner. Adopt a do-it-like-you-own-it attitude by being proactive. Then, third, hold the team interests higher than your own. Remember, collaboration will what? Make a great impact on your working environment. So, do not only think most of the time that you have the best solution to a problem. Learn to collaborate. Learn to collaborate. Next, be good to the profession. Do not talk poorly of other teachers, not even to your colleagues or to your peers. Why? Because it only makes you small and contributes to the erosion of respect for our profession. In your faculty room during break time, normally, what is the topic of your conversation? Is it city? Is it Sri? Is it Shinta? Be good to the profession. Why? Because it will erode respect for our profession. Are you following? Are you following? Okay. Julie, I miss your voice. Next, do not ignore your students. Dr. Quinto has already mentioned about the importance of communicating, listening to their needs. Okay? Respond to your students and communicate with them. Next, know the profession. This is related to my previous explanation. Let us show eagerness to learn. Okay? Upgrade your knowledge, your skills, and your competence for our profession. Okay? A professional work ethic is reflected in the quality of care and commitment, dedication, passion, and unselfish services teachers provide to students. It's not moving anymore. Okay. Remember the expectations from us teachers? Okay. It is expected that students learn and grow as better persons, and that we teachers provide competent, compassionate care and ensure a safe experience free of harm and injury. Teachers who demonstrate a professional work ethic deliver a higher quality of teaching. Okay? It was very visible, obvious during the discussion of cases and expectations during the talk of Dr. Quinto this morning. Okay, and how do we show professionalism as expressed in our work ethic? Please bear with me, be patient, please. This is very important. How to show professionalism as expressed in work ethic. Number one, punctuality. If you are punctual, it is an expression that you respect the time and the person of another. Clear. Be punctual because it is a sign of respect for your time and that of others. Sometimes we demand respect from other people, but we miss the very basic, which is punctuality. Okay? Punctuality. Some of us would like to be known as always the late comer, the diva of Secula Pilita Utama. Every time you enter, people will look at you. Ah, there she comes, the diva. The diva because you are always late. But that is a sign of your being unprofessional. That is a sign that you do not respect me, that you do not respect the other persons in this hall. So it's not a badge of honor to be always late. Okay, punctuality. Next, character. Each day, strive to be a person of integrity. Integrity refers to the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. The reason why a lot of people now has trust issues, it's because of lack of integrity. Humility and respect. Treating people with respect is free. And what is humility? Merriam-Webster dictionary would define humility as freedom from pride or arrogance. Okay. I will not dwell so much on this. Next is cleanliness. By cleanliness here, it is not merely limited to physical appearance, but even to our thoughts and what? Not limited to personal hygiene and clean surroundings, but also to one's mind, motives, and thinking. Appearances. How we appear to people is a reflection of how we appreciate our profession. Remember that one. Remember, that is not being vain, but that is respect for our profession. And remember, for those among us here Christians, in our Bible, we have the saying of St. Paul, from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Whatever comes out of your mouth comes from your heart. If your heart is full of anger, you will speak a lot about being angry always. If your heart is full of love, what comes out of your mouth is forgiveness, compassion, good things. From the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Next, attendance. If you are always absent, it puts pressure on other people. If a teacher is absent, the principal will ask another teacher substitute for this teacher. If that happens chronically, meaning to say every time, the substitute teachers will begin to feel resentment about you. The substitute teachers will start hating you. Why? Because you are disrupting their own schedules. During their free time, they are supposed to rest. They are supposed to eat. But instead of resting and eating, they are required by Arnold, by Vivid, okay, go to this section and substitute for the absent teacher. So, what happens to your working relationship? That teacher will no longer be your friend, but will now become your enemy. You want that? You want? Of course, no. Okay? So please, sometimes it's attendance, it's okay. It's okay. No. Do not take for granted the time that you will be substituted by the other teacher, because it might create resentment and hatred on the part of the substitute teacher. Next, procrastination. You procrastinate. The act or habit or putting off or delaying, especially something requiring immediate attention. You have a deadline next week. Next week. I still have days to do it. So, you just delay. Delay. And then the deadline comes. And then you start hating your head. Clear? Sometimes we can delay. That's a fact. That's okay. But do not make it a habit, because it will also affect your working relationship. Isn't it that when you love a person, you do not delay that expression of love? Huh? Clear? Okay. So, commit to the task, focus on doing, not avoiding. Then positive attitude. Remember the growth mindset? Communication skills. It's very important that we choose the appropriate communication channel. So, this has an implication in our working environment. If you want to say something about your concern to Pac Mason, for example, you do not simply send him a text message. Send an email. Okay. You know what I mean? Huh? So we should know which communication channel we must use. If there is a need for a dialogue to talk personally to the other person, then talk. Do not simply send what? Message. I do not know. Okay. So think of the proper communication channel. Okay? And clear verbal skills are important. Okay? Remember, what has been said in the previous session, we should learn how to say it properly. Okay. Open-mindedness, okay, do not be parochial with your mindset, meaning to say you have to learn also to understand other people's perspectives, having ability to adapt, flexibility, and then teamwork. Accountability, okay. This is a big word, my dear colleagues. To put it simply, we should learn how to face the consequences of our actions. We should be held accountable. Accountability is a sign of maturity. When you commit a mistake, you do not simply what? Blame external forces. Learn to accept if it is your fault, because that is a sign of maturity. Build and maintain collaborative relationships. Teamwork. And then, of course, the challenge for us is to walk our talk. We should be role models, not only to our students, but to our colleagues as well. Some people will say, okay, it's difficult, it's tedious, okay? It's a long process to observe work ethic. One author would say, let the students' needs define your work ethic. Sometimes this is true. So if our students need us or demand of us reliability, then teachers must be available or deliver services when or where students need them. If our students demand of us quality, then we must do everything in our power to produce high-quality teaching or service. If our students demand honesty, then we must display integrity in our actions and in our everyday interaction. If our students demand our professionalism, then we must dress, act, and prepare like professionals. If they demand promptness from us, then we must be timely in our responses, attendance, and deliverables. And if they demand expertise from us, then we must demonstrate authority or a willingness to learn. And if they demand respect, then we must display grace under pressure. If they demand determination, we must embrace challenges and focus on solving the students' problems. As your students evolve, so will the work ethic needed to create the best results for them. In other words, the challenge for us teachers is to always work on improving on our work ethic, because the demands and the needs of our clientele, our stakeholders, are also evolving. To have a good and strong work ethic and ethical culture, let us conduct ourselves in the best interests of the reputation of the profession, and our ethical and moral behavior is more than a 9 to 5 expectation. Please look at the screen. Focus on the last quadrant. Our ethical and moral behavior is more than a 9 to 5 expectation. We do not act and behave ethically at 9 o'clock in the morning and end at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That when I leave the school, then I have the license to become ethical, unethical. No. Our moral behavior is a 24/7 expectation from us. Clear? Okay. Claro. Last slide, second to the last. Hi. What have you learned today? Hi. Okay, second to the last slide, please. Peter Drucker, he's a management expert, said, "What do you want to be remembered for, and what do you want to contribute?" We will be able to answer these questions if we consider the first, how do you call that one? First part of the slide. Work ethic and professional life is a quest for contribution rather than an achievement. Please listen. Please listen. We do not aspire to become ethical in our working environment, in our life, because we want to consider that as an achievement. No. But rather, we are acting ethically because we want to contribute something in our society. I hope no one will retire from teaching and tell himself or herself, "I am the best ethical teacher in Secula Pilita Utama." No, it is not an achievement, but rather, maybe we can say to ourselves, "I have contributed something to make my students become better persons because of my ethical behavior." And remember, cultural, societal, and individual factors shape your work ethic and professionalism. One last slide. Don't clap yet. Don't get too excited. This is the third year that I want to challenge you again. Empower one another towards strengthening your individual and collective work ethics. Again, my message for this year is still empowerment. Help one another become better persons. It's lonely to go to heaven if you are alone. Okay. Bring your friend with you together. Okay? The last slide. Maraming salamat po. Maraming welcome. Julie, happy? Okay, maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arnel Bravo. Again, teachers, your questions will be entertained later. For now, we will have our lunch break. So, we will resume our first session at 1:15. So for lunch, now you may approach your admin assistants and enjoy your lunch. Thank you, teachers.